Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 310 at scavengerlife.com.
On our forum this week, we've been having, again, another debate about do you list every 30 days, re-list as a new item, or do you do good till canceled, how do you, fool eBay into thinking your items are new? So anyway, okay. Let's take a step back because no one's ever going to agree and we all do what we want to do. Okay. Let's talk about what the perfect way to sell is. And this would probably be true for anyone that sells anything, whether it be Walmart or just a person selling on eBay.
Right.
And that is, you can find cheap inventory that you can find again and again.
Yeah.
You can sell things quickly, and those things that you sell it's quickly make a high profit. Right. So that'd be the best thing,
for anybody anywhere.
Right. And that's probably and that is also true for people on Amazon and eBay. So if I knew I could get an item again and again, pay $1 for it, and I could sell it within a week for $30+.
Right.
That's the perfect thing. I mean, I would love for our store to be like that. We only have 10 items in our store, and it's just selling again.
Just quantity 1,000.
If I had a choice, that's the way I would sell. But that's not how we have learned to sell, because getting all three of those things correct or whatever is not easy.
Right.
Okay. So we can usually find 2 or 3 of those. It's qualities, We certainly find things that are cheap.
Yes.
That's been the reason why eBay works for us.
We find inventory for cheap. Some people on these forums and people we've interviewed find stuff for free.
Right. I mean, and that's why we call ourselves scavengers, because that's the excitement, is that we go out into this American landscape and we can often get a carload of stuff
for cheap.
For $100,
Sometimes less.
Bags of clothes, boxes full of items at an auction, Right. That's the exciting thing. Okay. However, this kind of stuff that we find often doesn't sell very fast.
Right.
I mean, that's one reason why it is cheap, is because people think it's junk.
And as we call it, long tail.
Right. I mean,
you're waiting for that right person.
This is stuff that's just sitting on the shelf that, 100 other people will walk by because no one thinks it's worth anything.
Yeah.
And that's why we can buy it cheap. If this item was obviously something that was worth a lot of cash, number one, it'd be priced really high, and number two, people would be grabbing it,
Right. It'd be gone. Right. Yeah.
And then, it's making a high profit. I think we do a pretty good job at that, I mean, we've talked about we like to price things high and wait.
Yes.
And if you look at our average price every week of what we sell things for, it's often above $30 to it's $40 an item. And if we're paying only, an average of a couple dollars an item, I mean, that's incredible profit.
Yeah.
We wish we didn't have to have a 5,000 item inventory.
Right.
Right? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's something I said this week, as we'll talk about. We were pulling stuff to ship because we were gone for 3 weeks. Having a 5,000 item inventory is not ideal, but it's what has worked for us.
Right. I mean, we did not sit down in the beginning and say, let's have 5,000 items.
Right.
In our inventory. It's just our inventory has just grown because it's busy people, we're busy bees, and we're always putting stuff up. Right. And so our inventory has just grown to that size.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is not all of it is huge and big. I have a entire bin full of ties, right. And there's a lot of things in there, but it's not taking up so much room.
So, someone hearing this is saying, Ryan, if your inventory is so big and you don't want a big inventory, why don't you just sell more stuff?
Sell more stuff. You mean okay, so here's part of it.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's long tail. So there are things, it doesn't matter if you slash the price. Because we have gone through and slashed some prices of older things, and they have sold.
I mean,
But it still takes a while.
So talk about what that term is, long tail, because I think that's kind of like a tech term that some people don't know
So
about.
long tail is the idea that you're selling something that's not a commodity item. You know, it's not toilet paper. It's not iPhone cases. It's not, these popular things that people buy every day.
Right.
It's a unique item. Like today, here's a good example. I have a compact 1986 manual for our computer, a personal computer from 1986. Who in the world would want that?
Right.
Guess what? Someone in Switzerland wanted it.
Right.
It probably took a year to sell.
Yep.
But I sold it for like $30-$40 to somebody in Switzerland. I probably just found it on a shelf in a thrift store randomly.
Yep.
That's long tail.
Yep. Now, and to be more specific, long tail, if you picture in your mind a graph, you see like a hockey stick. And at the top of the hockey stick is the most popular items. They're always being bought.
Every day.
And then
100 times a day.
The other end of the hockey stick is that kind of flat it's line. And that's most of the items that just don't get bought very often. Right. And in traditional retail, that long tail stuff was very hard to find for sale because, a retailer didn't want to put something that didn't sell a whole lot in their store,
Yeah, it'd be crazy to do that.
But nowadays, because of the internet, those kind of things can be found very easily because
people like us put them online.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's often the stuff that we sell is that long tail stuff, the stuff that isn't very popular. Again, because we're doing two things. We want to buy things cheap, and we want to sell things for a high profit.
Right.
So we're willing to sit on things and wait, and that's why we have a 5,000 item inventory.
But the idea is lots of things sell every day.
Right.
So that compact manual took however long to sell, but it sold today.
Right.
And something I listed a couple weeks ago sold today.
Right.
So it's the culmination of having the big inventory. It's not like, oh, I'm sitting on 5,000 things and nothing's selling. Right. That's not what's happening.
That's the beauty of our large inventory is that we never know what will sell.
Right.
But things are selling every day.
Yes.
And so, and that is just a different strategy. There are people who are on our forum and who are probably hearing this, like they don't want a large inventory. They don't have room for a large inventory. Their business sense says, I shouldn't hold on to anything for more than a month.
Right.
And that is awesome. And what I hear them doing, what they say they do, is that they are watching their items. If something doesn't have a lot of clicks, if people aren't checking them out, they'll like refigure them. They'll like add another picture. They'll like change the title. They end it. They re-list it. So they're doing like a lot of work on these items. Right. They're really looking at price. They're being very competitive. And so they're putting a lot of effort into a small inventory. Right. And some people do very well at that. They do
super well. So, but the thing about, there's the toss up there where you're like, you could do that, or you could have 5,000 items like us. Well, you know what I mean? Like I could do that with like 200 items and
you could spend 4 times the amount of time on a small inventory. Really,
just move it.
You're on top of it, and it's writing it, and you're like really making sure these things sell. Or you're like us, where we list it and forget it. Yeah. So instead of us spending a bunch of time on a small inventory, we just keep a listing, not worrying about what's going to sell. Right. I mean, that being said, we are always doing it's research. So when something is put up, we make sure it's appropriately titled and put in the right context, and at a price that isn't insane, but that we think is a strong price for it's what it is based on the quality.
And the great thing is that we love about eBay that's different than a lot of other selling places is you can put make offer, and now people can just send you an offer, or they can suggest an offer and you send it through the message. Right. That's great. Yep. There are some things that we sell where I'm like, yep, I would take a lot less for that. Let's just sell it. And that works for us.
Yep. And also, we have found as a result of a large inventory, we didn't really know this, but it seems to have it's worked out. Having that large inventory gives us a lot of cushion.
Yes.
And by that I mean, and we've talked about this before, we can not do anything on eBay for up to 3 months sometimes, and things still sell. We still make the amount of money we need,
right?
Because there's so much stuff that can be bought,
right?
You know, like we just came back from a trip. We were gone for what, 3 weeks?
Almost 3 weeks, yeah.
We didn't list a single thing,
right?
You know, and we didn't touch anything, reprice anything, anything like
just
that.
Nothing happened.
But we've made the same amount of money every single week without having to touch it. And you know, I think we could probably go at least another 3 weeks without even blinking.
Good, because I don't want to do any work. No, I'm just kidding. I will list. But there is some controversy about that, though, is like a lot of people are like, if you're not listing, eBay's not looking at your store as not active. And so, you know, there's a lot of questions about that, too.
Well, I mean, we'll let other people, you know, we don't really know about
the
search engine optimism and all that stuff. We just know, you know. But, you know, I imagine people that have like 300 item stores don't really have that kind of cushion. So as soon as they stop putting anything else into their store,
I see what you're saying.
They quickly sell a lot of their items, and then they have a very too small of a store to keep up steady income. Yeah. So, you know.
That's a good point.
And like when we interviewed is Mr. Customer Service.
Yes.
You know, he has a much different strategy than we do. Everything auction. He tries to get rid of everything. It's within 2 weeks. So
it's incredible.
His whole store just fits on like one set of shelves.
It's amazing.
But he says, when I don't want to work, I just stop everything.
Yeah.
And I just make sure I save enough so when I'm not doing eBay, I have enough to live.
Because no money's being made when it stops.
That strategy works for him, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, people are hearing us and they're like, wait a second, I do this and my store does all the good things you talk about. So, look, there's always exceptions. If you found a way to find things cheap, sell them quickly, and make a crazy profit, I mean, that's awesome. Good for you. I mean, that's like the thing you want to do. We just find that, you know, there are different methods for different people. Different sellers sell differently. And the whole point in my mind is the freedom of time, you know.
Yes.
That's what's important to us, you know. We're not trying to make $1 million. Although
I would love to make $1 million.
It'd be nice to, but that's not the point for us. The point for us is the freedom of time, and that's what I like about our strategy is that it's much more of a relaxed way. Yeah. Of doing things. Yeah. Like I'm not worried about that thing we listed a week ago.
It hasn't sold yet.
I got to keep looking at it. It's refresh it. Why hasn't it sold yet? It's only had 8 views on it.
Oh my God, if I had to do that, I don't want to look at that stuff. I want to list it and forget it.
We focus on scavenging, stuff we think is fun. Yeah. And then we do the work that, you know, it's not glamorous, but we photograph and list it. Right. And then we just know things will sell. Yeah. And they do. And I don't know why they sell. I mean, like
8 years later,
we have no magic
like, why
wand.
Is this selling?
But over the past 8 years, we have consistently, week in and week out, made the money we needed to live. You know? Yep. Like the Rolling Stones say.
You can't always get what you want.
You can't always get what you want, but you get what
you need.
You know. So
thanks, Rolling Stones.
Yeah. So, you know, that is why, you know, we sell the way we sell. Okay, before we do our numbers, I just want to mention one thing. Yes. It's a pet peeve.
Yes, it's mine too.
Should we start as like a pet peeve thing here?
No, because then we're like negative people, but still.
There's this word that people use, and it mainly comes in like the personal finance community. Yeah. And they call it a hustle. Or a side hustle, you know? And they're like, what's your side hustle?
And what they mean by that is how do you make extra money on the side other than your full-time job?
It's kind of a cute term that people use, especially people who have like full-time jobs. Right. But then they make money on the side, and that could be doing Airbnb or selling on eBay, or they make websites or something, and that's their side hustle. And I think that's cool. I mean, I get what people are trying to say, but when people like use it in our context, it just feels like demeaning a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like what we do is not a hustle. Like, I'm not hustling anything. This is like, we're running a business.
Right.
And I think that, and I just think that that's important for anyone, even if you have a full-time job, to think of what you're doing as a business. Because hustle to me seems short-term. It could disappear at any moment, you know.
Right.
Like, if you're not putting a lot of effort into it. And if you think
it's temporary.
it thinks of what you're doing as a business, it could be more long, like a long game, and it could be something that could grow bigger than what you ever expected.
Which is what happened with us with eBay.
Right.
But I hear what you're saying. Like when people say hustle, it makes you feel like they're not taking it seriously, or it's just like a fun little like. It's like when people call selling a hobby, and it is a hobby for some people.
Right. Well.
But it's not for us and for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, and people hearing this, like, there's a stereotype of the person that sells on eBay. I definitely had this. Like, the mom who has kids at home, and she's like busy taking care of the kids, but she's also an ambitious person, and she is selling things on the aside to make extra cash.
Right.
I mean, we know these people exist. And she may think of it as just a hobby. Right. But it's like, why not see that as a business?
Or
like,
as it is your part-time job.
Right. It's like you're a business person, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, like, we know it's Cindy from Amazing Taste.
Right.
I mean, she, in some ways, kind of fits that mold. She was a mom.
Yeah. She still is a mom.
Right. I mean, she is a mom, but, when her kids were small, she was like a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
But she started an eBay business, and she saw it as a business.
And she sees it as
and she made it so incredibly successsul, she pulled her husband out of his full-time job.
Yes.
And sucked him into
that
their
ain't
business.
no hustle.
And they're
That's
making
like
an
real.
incredible amount of money. So, I think it is important to call things for what they are,
Also, like, when I think of the word hustle or a hustler, I feel like it's some people hear that as some get-rich-quick scheme, and I just don't like the that kind of terminology.
And we both have worked in the tech world, and there are other terms that I hate too, like I'm a ninja or a rock star
or a guru.
I'm a web guru.
You're like, just stop. It's your
CSS
job.
ninja. It's just,
you're just like, that's cool.
Don't be so cute. Anyway,
it's too cute.
Get off my lawn, kids.
Don't be cute.
Okay, let's talk about
eBay.
Another thing we were talking about on the forum was eBay had a summer update, which is very strange and weird for anyone that is kind of...
I've never seen a summer update. I was like, what's this?
Anyone that's kind of new to selling on eBay, if you want to like get deep into it, eBay does this thing. They have a spring update and they have a fall update. And normally these are policy changes, ways to improve the service, and often it affects anyone who sells on eBay because they're changing its requirements. So they did a summer update, which is very strange. And
well, it seems like the spring update just happened.
Right.
That's what's weird.
Right. And so it concerned a lot of people, like, are they going to start doing an update every quarter, which is every 3 months, which would be it could create a lot of chaos. Supposedly, this is a one-time thing, or...
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't pay any attention. I'm like, what's happening?
So, I didn't see, personally, a whole lot of changes. Okay. Number one, it's reminding people no more active content. So if you have your page and in your description you have like a lot of bouncing
JavaScript galleries,
or JavaScript or galleries,
a YouTube video,
or YouTube,
which is a bummer.
It's video. All that stuff gets stripped out, and it makes sense in some ways because more and more people are buying online, so that kind of stuff doesn't work well on a mobile phone. So they're just trying to clean everything up.
Yeah.
No big deal. And then there were some other things too that people are debating on. eBay seems to be wanting to really push people to accept free returns, which means like it's basically like Amazon.
Yep.
If someone wants to return an item, they should just be able to mail it back to you and you pay to ship it.
Both ways.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is true, if eBay is actually asking us to extend our return it's windowed to 60 days.
Well, I saw people were saying 30 or 60 to be top rated.
Right. But 60 would really...
60 is like...
I mean, we have a 30-day...
Yeah.
We were willing to do that 30 days, but 60 days, it's like, come on. I mean...
2 months?
It's within the first week or so, you should know.
Yeah.
You know, look.
We don't know.
We don't stress about it. These kind of things, we often just see, well, let's just see kind of how it actually plays out, and then we'll change things from there.
Yeah.
You know, I will admit, peek into the eBay community forums. Those are the official eBay
dark
like boards where people talk, and it is dark.
It is dark. It is negative.
Yeah, people are very upset. So
and I think the reason for that is because they know that eBay reads it, so people just go off.
Yeah, so I mean, in some ways, I think those boards are good because it's like the people who want to spend their time really being angry and trying to find someone from eBay to talk to them and tell them their upsetness. I mean, that's great. So there's a place for them, and I think they're doing a good service. We just tend to just kind of focus on what the platform is now. I mean, and just keep our store going.
Look, a lot of times with these updates too, you can do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to change your return time. You just won't be top rated. And they changed top rated discount from 20% to 10% recently. So I'm kind of like, whatever. At this point,
it's becoming a less and less of an interest to us.
Yeah, so it's just,
Yeah, I mean, we have to sell however we feel comfortable. And, Okay, ShipSaver.
So I noticed...
What's up with that?
Yeah, what is up with that? Because this week I shipped a lot of stuff, 150 plus items, and I was noticing ShipSaver was... When I was insuring through ShipSaver, one was an international shipment to England. The buyer was like, why did I get this email about how you insured my item? I was like, I have no idea. First of all, I had no idea what he was talking about. And he's like, it was called ShipSaver, and it was under, Jay Deadman. And I was like...
That's me.
That's you. And I was like, yep, I insured it, and that's my husband's name, blah, blah, blah. And then today I insured something on the main store, and I got like an auto response email from someone's like work email, like, hi, I'm out of the office. And it was like, regarding like ShipSaver insurance, blah, blah, blah. I was like, why is ShipSaver directly emailing my customers?
So I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
Number one, I just want to say ShipSaver, for anyone that doesn't know, is just a third party.
It's an app through eBay.
Can insure packages from, so on top of the USPS ability.
Right.
Okay, so my two questions are, have you looked on the ShipSaver website just to see if there's like a new thing where you can click and say don't email people?
No, but I need to do that,
and
obviously.
Number two, you could call them.
I could call them. I think I will call them. Because I am just like, my customer, number one, doesn't need to know about extra insurance.
Right.
Or... If they do,
Well, especially if it's giving them confusing info.
Yeah,
like it should say, like, is Ryan's...
Valley Vintage, yeah.
Well,
sorry.
It's not saying,
yeah.
It should say, it should have their name and say, you have been insured by this store.
Or, like... Why isn't it like sending the email to me too, or why didn't they say we're starting to send email? Like I was just like, I have no idea. Have they always done this and no one said anything?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's weird. So I just wanted to see if anyone else noticed that.
This is just a kind of a little story about buying something on eBay.
Yeah.
People have been talking about how on Amazon there's a scam where you'll find an item that is priced way too low, and people buy it and then they don't ever get the item. Well, we actually found that on eBay. We were trying to find a Dyson vacuum cleaner.
So we were in Chicago at Jay's sister's house, and she had a Dyson, the one that hangs on the wall, like the little... And we were like, this is literally the best thing ever, and we have to buy one. So we went on eBay, and I was like, what's the lowest price? I mean, we knew it was a scam, right?
I mean, these are worth $300, all day long, and it was $22 with free shipping. Media mail. Yeah. So it was an obvious scam, but I was just like, well, go ahead and buy it.
We wanted to just see what would happen through eBay's process.
Well, I mean, and this is a good thing about when, people sell on eBay and they complain because eBay has all these protections for the buyer and the buyer,
Right.
But this is why I felt confident buying it, because
Right.
I was like, no matter what happens,
We'll get
eBay
our
has her
money
back.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, what happens if someone is just listing stupidly?
Yeah.
Like
By accident, yeah. Like they meant to say $220.
So we buy it, and it's within an hour we get an email from eBay.
Okay, but so here's the thing, right? So we get an email from eBay saying they took the listing down. But the thing about eBay is they didn't refund us. I had to call, and I looked for I was like, cancel listing, cancel transaction, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't do it. I had to call PayPal and be like, can you please just give me my money back? That's what I didn't understand.
Huh, that's interesting.
So eBay didn't give us our money back.
So you had to do it through PayPal.
I had to call
eBay.
PayPal directly and say, eBay told me this was a fraudulent listing, and I just want you to give me my $22 back.
Did the PayPal rep, were they able to key it up? Could they?
I'm trying to think how they did it.
Because now that eBay and PayPal,
they looked up the item number and saw that it had been taken down.
I think that's interesting. Now that eBay and PayPal are now officially separate companies, it's interesting that they still must share info.
Because they looked at, but I don't know if they just looked it up on eBay itself. Like anyone can look up that item number and see that it's gone. But what's weird to me is that eBay didn't take the responsibility for refunding the payment.
Yeah, that is strange that they didn't just automatically we know this is a fraudulent sale.
Yeah. So
they should just be automatically, we made you whole.
Cancel the transaction. So
eBay, if you hear this.
So really, I was like, come on, eBay. I have to call PayPal.
eBay.
That's crazy.
eBay, get you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, some random stuff. This is kind of housekeeping on the forum.
Okay, so look, I have a filter on the forum because we were getting a lot of fake spam users signing up, because that just happens on any website that you have user signups. If for some reason I've denied you because I thought you were a spammer, because some people make usernames that have lots of numbers and look spammy to me.
Like Steve 81232.
Yeah, spammers use that type of username all the time. So if I've denied you, you'll get an email that's like, you've been denied. Just email us back and say, I'm a real person, because I will automatically approve you.
Is there a way when people sign up where they can say, please?
Have a message?
Yeah,
no.
Please let me in.
Not that I could see, so it's tough. But I do have to manually approve everyone because we were getting so many junky users. So please just email us if I've denied it.
And then one other thing on the forum, 2 people have said this recently. They'll make a forum post, they'll edit it, and when they try and save it again, it deletes all the text. I have not experienced this, and again, it's just 2 people, so I don't know what exactly the process is, but please email us if this is happening to you and tell us exactly the order in which you've done things, so I can try it, because I mean, until I can actually do it, it's myself and see what the problem is.
I don't know what the problem is either. Right. I've never had that problem, but I don't know if we've never had that problem because we're administrators. Right. So we just have to troubleshoot some.
I can always log out and log in as
another user. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the thing is, I am getting people's emails that they are posting these things.
Right, we see the email of the original post before it's edited, so it goes through at some point.
It's just quirks. So, and if you don't know what we're talking about, come to our forum, scavengerlife.com/forum.
Yes.
That's where we all hang out.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers. So this week in our store, again, we just got back from a trip. We've not enlisted anything in 3 weeks.
Yep.
We sold 45 items for about $1,800.
Wowee.
Great, I mean, anytime we can get, $2,000, I'm over the moon, so we got close to that. Then in our second store, we sold 10 items for about $300.
Not bad.
Keeps cranking. And we did sell a couple things on Bonanza.
Yeah, I don't even know what I sold.
Bonanza.
It was some stuff.
Little extras,
Yeah, $30.
Okay, things we sold. So we had some wingtips,
Yeah.
It's leather, a vintage Florsheim
Florsheim
wingtips.
Imperial.
Yeah, I mean, I took a half price offer.
I was surprised you took a half price offer.
So we sold them for $89.
We had them up for $165.
Right. And you know why?
Why?
Because here's the thing about these kind of shoes. They're beautiful,
Right.
and you can often find them in thrift stores because what happens is Grandpa dies.
Yep.
Nobody wants these old shoes.
Right.
They get put into a bag, taken to a thrift store, and there they are. I mean, and the thing is, these can be some of the best shoes you could ever buy.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like handcrafted leather shoes. Like if you were to try and buy now a new pair of shoes
It'd be like $500.
at that quality, it'd be like $500. And if you look at how these things will play out on eBay, they may sell for up to $300.
Yeah, depending.
But they can sell for as low as $10 because there are sellers out there that just do not know what these things are worth.
Or they don't care.
And they're willing to sell them so cheap. So it's, they're driving the prices down. So I was like, $89. We've had it for a while. Let's just do it.
Yep. Okay, next sale. I want to talk about this sale. So we were staying in a hotel overnight in Seattle, right near the hotel. Right near the airport before we were flying home. And we were walking down this little walking path, right? And something sold, right? Cha-ching. It's like cha-ching. And I just automatically said, I really hope that's a $400 sale. Because wouldn't that be so nice? Jay looks at the phone and he goes, we just sold something for $403. And I was like, what?
What does that mean?
I don't know. It was cool, though.
Yeah.
So it was a set of 4 Danish modern chairs. I originally priced them at like $1,600, which obviously is insane. But Jay repriced it a little while ago, and, it was $400.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the early days or in the early part of the podcast where we list it and get it.
It's hard to forget
there are
chairs on your porch.
There are exceptions to that. Yeah, we have a porch that is kind of our furniture storage area, and when it gets too full, I will go through and reprice stuff.
Just get it off the porch.
Let's sell this. And it's interesting. These are the chairs we had talked about in a past podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
We were driving by a thrift store and saw their truck being unloaded, and they were taking off these Danish modern chairs.
I'm even going to correct you on that. We saw the chairs in the back of a truck.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, oh my God, where's that truck going? But we had to go to the farmhouse. We were like, we have to go to the farmhouse. We can't stop. We can't pull this guy over. So we go to the farmhouse and we turn around and we go by this like furniture / thrift store place, and they're unloading the chairs. And we were like, and we like jump out.
Basically, we bought them off the truck, and he didn't have a price on them. We bought them for
$150 for 4.
We sold them for 4, so we made a decent profit.
Each, yep.
Not bad. And they were actually bought by a woman in it's Manhattan,
and she's having them picked up by like U-Ship.
Right.
Which is awesome.
So it's a local pickup thing.
Yeah, so I'm not shipping those things.
We had gone to an auction, a month ago, and I bought a whole table of stuff for $200.
Yeah, it was $200, yeah.
And because all I really had bought the table for there was a box of perfume.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I knew I wanted.
High end.
But then there was just like a table of like glassware.
And crystal! Oh, God, no.
And we went back and forth, and we were like, should we just donate all of this, or could we try and sell it?
We've been selling it.
And we, of course, are always like, let's just sell it.
So then I have to pack it all.
So we actually sold several pieces of glassware this week for about $40. So,
$40-50. We sold something this morning.
Yep.
Look, we're pricing it cheap. I'm like, oh, it's lead crystal. I don't care. It's $15. Just get it off my shelf. So...
and then just, the whole time we were gone, I think we sold, 150 items?
It was 150, yep. Okay. And plus stuff was selling as we got home.
So we were gone for 3 weeks. We sold 150 things while we were gone. And it's Ryan and our helper actually shipped it all within 2 days.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
Yes, so a lot of the stuff, I would say way more than half was clothes. So I taught her how to pack clothes. Like, this is what I would do. I would lay stuff out in a row, I would print out the invoices and match everything. And then I'd be like, okay, put all these things in poly mailers. This is how I do it. I put it in like a clean shopping bag, and then I put it in a poly mailer and write on the outside what it is, where it's going, and how much it weighs, and pile it up in front of my desk so that I can print labels. And it was like an assembly line. I mean, I did a lot of it because I was like pairing everything up. But I think we could get to a point where if I was like, here are all the invoices, here's all the inventory, just match everything up. Like, you know what this stuff is. You took pictures of all of it, you know? So she could do that. And then eventually I think we'd teach her how to print labels and stuff. And
I think that was fun. I don't know, fun for her, but she said it was interesting to see
what sold.
What actually sold, because she's only been on the front end
right.
where she's just taking pictures of just
she never sees
stuff.
What sold unless I say this thing sold,
and she'll say like, this is the craziest stuff, like who's gonna buy this? And now she sees like, oh, people are buying because
she remembered
things.
Some of the stuff, like, oh yeah. that funny thing,
yeah. And it was fun, like when we're away for that long and we have to come home and we have to pull all of that, man. I always enjoy it because we're just really kind of eating into our inventory, and we sold a lot of random
stuff,
long-tail stuff,
very long-tail.
You know?
Yep.
Okay, customer issues.
Yes, so we had someone in Europe, they're in the UK, they complained about a piece of artwork that I sent them. They said it was not an original piece of artwork, that it was a print, which I do not believe is true, and he was kind of upset about that. And it sounded like he was fishing for a partial refund. And the great thing is, we were just like, oh, you're not happy? Just send it back. I mean, you're like, I want that artwork back.
Right. Well, I mean, look, I'm going to toot my own horn here.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this on its forum. It seems like a lot is lately where a seller will come on and say, this person doesn't like this item.
But what do
I do? I mean, my thing is, what you do is, if you're confident that the item is a good item, that you have not done anything wrong,
right,
then just say, send it back.
Yeah.
Because if the person really doesn't like the item, I don't want them to keep it.
Right.
But if they do like the item, then I'm going to give them a choice. Either keep it and agree to the terms that, you bought them under.
Right.
Or send it back, and I'll sell that item again. And this was a piece of artwork that we had other pieces like this that have successfully sold, and we know that they're real and they aren't print.
Right.
So, and he just wrote back and said, I'll think about it, and then we haven't heard back.
Right.
And the other reason why it's good to give people that kind of choice is, if they leave negative feedback or, open up a case, eBay will always say, we want you to reach out to them and give them that choice.
And if you already reached out to them, you can say, I did. I offered them a return.
Right. So if this buyer, says something bad about us, or,
right,
we can say, we offered to take the item back.
It's not guaranteed that eBay will, take away a negative feedback, but it does help that you're like, I offered a refund.
But, I mean, it's like we always say, I think that giving the buyer a choice is really the key here,
Sure.
And that does two things. Number one is, the buyer doesn't feel like they're not being heard.
Right.
Like, I heard
You're
them,
acknowledging.
and I'm like, send it back if you're unhappy.
Yeah.
Like, what more can I do?
Yeah.
And number two, I don't feel hijacked.
Right.
I don't feel like I have to give this person
a partial refund and they keep it.
A refund, or they're holding me hostage, or it's whatever else some people, start to stress out about,
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was good.
Yep. Our coming week, you have nothing. I have like the longest list ever.
So let's make my list here as we do this. Shoes.
Oh, good. I like that.
I need to do the bees. I need to do the house.
Yes. I'm half joking because I know the house is a big deal.
So, how about it's Ryan / helper?
Yes, I have over 300 scheduled listings that I have to list. And what's really funny is yesterday, which was Friday, I was like, I'm going to get through a bunch of these listings. And our internet went out.
Right.
I was like, I literally can't do anything.
As we always have said, we are really like the internet makes our life happen.
Yeah.
So that being said, we've talked about this is with our helper. You know, we're doing this slow. We're evolving her. She just graduated from college. And
associate's degree,
right.
not college, but yeah,
sure.
kind of college.
Yeah, like higher education.
Yeah.
And we actually had a sit-down conversation with her a couple of days ago. Like, hey, what's your plan? I mean, now that school's done, are you going to, like, apply for a full-time job
And the
somewhere?
answer was, I don't know.
Yeah, and, it was a very common, like...
It was great.
You know, it's when I graduated from college, it took me a while to figure out. And she admitted she likes having this kind of like kooky, non-traditional lifestyle, and the idea of getting like a 9-to-5 office job kind of makes her cringe.
Which is great. I'm like, good.
So we just said, you know, we'll be the job that's very flexible.
Yeah.
And you can work as many hours as you want, and, you know.
As many hours as we can give her.
Right.
I mean, as many hours as we have stuff for her to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was good. And that being said, we also talked about evolving what she understands about eBay. She's mainly been just taking its photos of stuff, and then she started to write the actual listing. Now we've talked about teaching her how to price.
Yes, that's the next step, because pricing is definitely an art form.
Right.
The stuff that we sell, it's an art form.
I mean, and we've heard other people that have hired helpers. What they do is they just say, just make everything $10, or all these shirts $15.
But we don't do stuff
and
like
that does make things very easy. I think for us, we want to actually teach her of how to research items,
it,
and then to price things accordingly.
Because that saves me a lot of time. I mean, that literally allows me to look at it, say it looks good, and list it. I don't have to do anything else, you know?
So I think we're going to start that pretty soon. We're going to start having, we have a bunch of books that she needs to take pictures of. She'll write that stuff out, and we'll have her learn to price on books.
Yeah, because books
because I'm less worried about her
books aren't
making a
gonna
mistake.
be like too crazy. So
Okay, let's answer its questions of people that have called in. I will say it's one thing. We had a complaint on the It's forum where someone was like, don't play questions by new people. We've heard the answer a million times. I mean, number one is, I think our answers sometimes change just because we evolve. But number two, I mean, you know, new people, we all have questions, like, we'll answer them. And what we do need is that if you're an experienced person that sells on eBay, we want you to call as well. We don't really get a lot of advanced questions or calls from people that have sold a whole lot.
Hi, good morning from Tucson, Arizona. This is Lonnie calling. I just listened to your most recent episode on what works for you, and I kind of got a chuckle out of it. I truly appreciated your comments about Jay's comments about having work life, eBay life, kid life, mom life, dad life, because it's not talked about very often. I work full time. I work 8 to 5. Have a husband, have one son, and I do eBay part time. And it's hard. It is. You have to prioritize your time. So I do a lot of my eBay stuff during my breaks at night. A lot of time at night. And I don't like to do a lot of eBay when my son is home. Just for the simple fact that we don't get a lot of time with him. As soon as I get home from work, he gets home from school, we only get to see him for 4 waking hours, and then it's off to bed. But I do appreciate all of those comments, and I was very humored by it, and I'm glad it was brought up, because it's not mentioned. I feel like not only in your podcast, but I think just in general, we do hear a lot about full-time resellers, and that's great. I am one of those lucky individuals who has who works full-time and absolutely love my job. I've got a great boss. I've got a great schedule, great flexibility. Probably won't be able to leave my job, but I just wanted to say thank you. I truly enjoyed that episode. Enjoy your working time off from eBay, technically, and love your podcast. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, so, she's talking about when after we visited my sister who have two kids who are 8 and 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just a whirlwind.
Oh, my God.
My sister is just incredible.
And she gets so much stuff done.
Yeah.
We're like, how?
And I'm sure that that's true for a lot of parents. So, and then I can't imagine my sister also doing eBay on top of that. I don't know.
I mean, she does have a job, so she
Right.
so it's like she does all the house stuff. She drives the kids around. She gets them to school. She does lunch duty. She has a job. You're like, what?
And I do understand that, when you watch a lot of the people on eBay, I mean, on a YouTube talk about selling on eBay and
Right.
Amazon, often there seem to be single people or people it's like us without kids,
Right.
or they're people just doing it full time.
Right.
And, obviously there aren't, I guess, a lot of people doing YouTube that also have kids and have a full-time
They
job.
don't have
because they don't have
time
time
to
do
do
a
it.
YouTube channel.
Oh, my God.
We just wanted to give those kind of people the credit
because
they
we
deserve.
saw it. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing is like our life is not like that at all. So when we saw it firsthand, we were like, wow, this
Yeah.
is really impressive.
That's right. Our life is about cats, and when the cats bother us too much, we just put them outside, and then we don't have to worry about them. So you can't do that with kids.
Yeah.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Angela from Minnesota. Just calling. I thought I'd bring something to your attention. Not sure if it's happened to you before, but I've been selling on eBay for quite a few years now, and I put my store on vacation mode. And for some reason, I sold 2 items on Bonanza. I was kind of surprised by that, and I was especially surprised to find out that they were items that one I had removed from my store on eBay about a year ago, and the other one had sold on eBay about a year ago. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if it's just some fluke because my store was on vacation and it was pulling old information. I'm not really sure what was going on there. But I did fix it by, I'm hoping that I fixed it by going onto Bonanza and putting a vacation hold on there. So just thought that was interesting, just to kind of give everybody a heads up. If you are syncing everything from Amazon to Bonanza, you might want to look at your inventory and see what's sitting in there. Love the show. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that is weird. I don't put my store on vacation hold because we just sell stuff while we're gone and we change our handling time. But it is funny when stuff sells on Bonanza because I don't change my handling time on Bonanza or like Trugether. I just message people directly. I'm just like, we're away, we're shipping on this day, and people are like, okay, cool, thanks.
Right.
That's kind of how I handle it on those other stores. But I don't know why random old listings were showing up in Bonanza.
I mean, we have heard other people say they've had problems with the it's syncing. I mean,
Yes.
that's what makes some of these other sites tolerable, because Bonanza and Trugether, and there's some other sites. I mean, there's no it's work involved.
It just
you
syncs,
just sync up your eBay store, and then it should automatically be updating itself. And when something sells, it comes off.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't do that, it's obviously a problem. And the only thing I can think of is resync
The store.
at your store, or contact those sites directly and figure out what's going on.
Exactly.
Good morning, guys. It's Tom calling from Canada. I am a long-time, small-time eBay seller. I do a lot of Craigslist. Probably been selling for about 20 years. Love your podcast and your website. I have relied on them heavily over the years in order to get my eBay business moving as a percentage of the various platforms that I use. Anyway, sort of a comment and then a request. The comment is, the reason I'm drawn to what you guys do, and it's all about the attitude. It's the no bull, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't let it change your life, make it fit your life, all that stuff. It really lines up with the way I look at it. Also the passion for it. I've got to be somewhat interested in the things I sell, at least, hopefully most of them, Now, the request part would be, relating to inventory and process. I would love to see a video that goes from looking over that morning's sales to pulling the items from your inventory to at least getting them to the place where they are photographed and shipped, because you've covered photography and shipping very well over the years. But I would really like to get a peek at the inventory system, and a walkthrough. We got a sale. Let's go find the item. What happens next? How do we deal with multiple items that we're having to pull in the same day? Stuff like that. I just think it would be really helpful to a lot of people. Again, love what you do. Thanks. Keep doing it. And I look forward to your response. Bye-bye.
I'll do a walkthrough right now. There's a bin. It says ties. I have to look through it. Here's the tie that's sold.
I think that is a valid request, and we've kind of talked about the idea of doing that. I think the issue is with us is that it would be a very, in our opinion, very boring / confusing video, because our inventory system is very confusing. Like, I wish we could do a thing where we're like, oh, look, it's Ryan, this thing just sold. Okay, let's go to B108. And then we go to, like, this really neat wall with all these, it's a grid, and everything's labeled, and you pull it out.
Some people have that system, and they're brilliant.
We have a system that started from when we were just, doing this, I guess, as like a hobby.
Hustle.
When we didn't think it would be a big business, and it's just kind of grown from there. So just imagine a dark, creaky farm building, and you open up this door,
and there are no lights,
and there is one
light.
We did install a light. And then there are just shelves of plastic bins, and there's just a label that says kitchen or houseware or stationery, and everything's in like plastic bags. And then we have to we know this item's probably in one of 3 bins, because we have to think, would we have said this is like kitchen, or is this
metal?
A metal, or is this like a pot?
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I will tell you. Okay, we have more than 5,000 items. We have 6,000 items, and sometimes it's easy. Sometimes you find something in 1 second. Oh, here it is. It's where I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And sometimes you
I mean, so often it can be frustrating, but I will say we have not been able to find 5 items?
Maximum 5 items.
In the 8 years we've sold. Just sometimes things take a little longer than they should.
And then a month later you find it. So.
But most times we find things very quickly. It's just not, I don't think it'd be a fun.
It's not fun.
It wouldn't be very instructive. The way it would be a good video is to show how not to do it. And so that's why it's kind of our next big project over the next 12 months or so. Who knows? We want to build a new storage building where we can have that awesome, super modern
inventory system,
efficient inventory system.
We don't have that now.
Yeah.
So.
But I would love to see other people do videos of their own inventories. We've had a lot of people, talk about it in words.
Yeah.
But I'd love for other people.
Show us your SKU numbers.
Show us how it's done,
Yeah, seriously.
Hey guys, love your podcast. I have a question for Ryan about your shipping area, because mine is out of control. I have, all the, scavenged boxes. I smushed them all, so everything's broken down, but it's still taking up a 10 by 10 room. And I was wondering if you only use bubble wrap and the newspaper ends to contain things. I got a bunch of free shipping materials, so I just have bags and bags. And it's supposed to be my husband's man, but it's full of shipping stuff. And a million years ago, Jay asked about artists. Artists that use eBay to supplement their income. And I'm totally one of those people. I'm a painter, and I would not be able to stay home trying to be a painter if it wasn't for eBay. So any suggestions on thanks. Bye.
Okay, so the way you described your shipping area, I think mine's worse. At least you broke your boxes down. There's so many times where I'm I don't want to break this box down because I know I'm going to use it.
I'm the organizer, so I come in there every month or two.
I hope it's sooner than that.
And I come in and I kind of reorganize things and kind of like mash stuff down. We also have like a it's bathroom where the stand-up its shower stall is now
filled with bubble wrap.
Full of just bubble wrap.
Right now it's empty because we actually took a lot of our shipping supplies and put them downstairs in storage. They still are crazy.
Look, I think honestly, if you have a business that you depend on and you are selling often,
right? You need that stuff available.
That's just the way it is.
You can't put it away. So the problem is like, yeah, let's get all these great boxes and break them down, and they have to be ready for me to use right there. Like they can't be in another room.
Right.
Because if they are, I don't know I have them.
I mean, one thing I will do, it's when I go in and organize, I'm like, all right, are these the kind of boxes you're going to use anytime soon? And she'll say...
This is a question I hear all the time.
And she'll say, no, that's like a special box.
So put it downstairs.
So if I have a really weird item, I'll be like, all right.
Put it downstairs.
This can be put away because you're not going to use it very often.
So when we were shipping, I shipped 150 items this week. You know, there were weird items where I'm like, okay, I got to go downstairs and look for this big, weird, rectangular box and get it, as opposed to... Let's just leave that in the office for 6 months. Right. You know, I don't need that.
I mean, something else I did too, as a gift to you. I found at an auction, like a store was going out of business, and it was like a big table.
It's like a shipping table.
Right. It's kind of like something that would have like a cash register on it, and when you're on the employee side, there's all these great shelves
for supplies.
So we just put that up against the wall. It's like a good 8-foot long table.
It's huge. I don't even know how we got it up the stairs.
And then we have like all these, that's where all the poly mailers are and all that stuff. And it's great,
So I have a shipping table and that helps a lot. But yeah, it's like you need that stuff in your office.
And tell it's your husband that he can't have his man cave because you're making money.
That's right.
Hey, what's up, Scavengers? This is Roy calling from Pennsylvania. Just wanted to share something that I've noticed over the last couple of months. And we talk about returns, and when you accept a return, the buyer has I think 5 or 6 business days to actually drop that into the mail, and then you can. If they don't, you can call and get that return, squashed. But I noticed a tactic two buyers have done is they've actually gone to back. They waited a couple weeks and then they filed a claim through PayPal. I called PayPal. I said, well, this return was closed, and they said, well, the first level of return is eBay, and then the second layer is PayPal, and then the third layer that you can actually get a claim up to a full year is directly through the credit card company. At any rate, this person, waited, it didn't send me back a pair of shoes, and actually waited about a month and a half and then did a claim in PayPal. During a week I was very busy. I didn't catch it, and they, kept the item. They never had sent it back, and they did rule in their favor because I had missed the email for the claim. And, so they got their item and they got their money back. So just wanted to share that, just because, you have that 5 or 6 business days. I had a guy have a pair of shoes that I sold him in December file a claim through PayPal directly saying they were defective. He had worn them, and it took about a month hung up in PayPal. They did rule in my favor on that one since he admitted he wore the shoes, but just something to keep in mind. I thought I'd share that. Love the videos, guys. Take care.
So my question is, that first example you said, what was the case reason they opened in PayPal? I'm guessing it was item not as described. But even after they gave the money back to that person, you can still call PayPal and appeal it. I've appealed before through PayPal on the phone.
And we have, and I don't know, it's just because this is what people have been talking about on it's forum. We've had several other people say they've had PayPal cases opened against them. So the buyers are skipping over eBay and going straight to PayPal. And it can be reasons for, I didn't get the item, it's damaged, or someone took over my credit card and bought this without my permission. Here's the deal, it's with us. I mean, I don't think we've ever lost a PayPal case.
I don't think I've ever have.
And I think it's only happened to us under 10 times in the 8 years since we've sold. So if you think about that, under 10 times, and we've sold thousands and thousands of items.
20,000 items.
Yeah. So it's not, it doesn't happen to us very often. And I don't know if it is happening more or just more people are talking about it.
Right.
But like Ryan said, I mean, these things can get closed in our favor very easily. They say they didn't get the item.
Give them tracking.
PayPal wants to see is a tracking number. Done. Someone says, an unauthorized purchase on its credit card. You just show that it was bought and you shipped it to the right place. PayPal protects you.
They'll close you. It's seller protection.
And then if the person isn't happy, it's with the item.
You do the same thing in eBay. You say, I have a 30-day return policy. They can return it. They've never mailed it back. If they provide tracking through PayPal, I mean, that's what they always say when I call PayPal. Right. And you're like, they just say, send it back.
Right. So, and although PayPal does have it's like a 180-day return policy, so it doesn't matter. Our answer is always
call PayPal.
Our answer is always, if you're unhappy, send it back.
Right.
And often the buyer won't send it back, and PayPal's like, well, they could have done it, they didn't, so we close it, and it's your favor.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why people lose any of these cases as a seller is because they don't answer. They choose to not participate in the conversation. So these companies will always go against you because if you're not being open.
A lot of times too on the PayPal claims, PayPal will be like, this is pending. We're taking care of it. Doesn't matter. You got to call.
Right.
You just have to call, because even if you're like, I provided the tracking, I still call. I provide the tracking, I call right then.
It's good we always say this, get involved with a person as early as possible in the
you have to
a system, because often they'll close it right then and there.
They'll just close it.
They'll be like, oh yeah, that's it, I'm going to close it. And if you don't call, then they
just assume you're a deadbeat seller.
Or they just, they want to be on the side of the buyer because that's where the
money is.
Our money is.
Yeah, exactly. So call.
Hello, this is Craig calling, and wondering about two questions. I've got a two for here for you. Okay, I'm curious about weighing items and measuring items for shipping on eBay. Do we round up or down on measurements and weight? That's what I'm curious about. The other thing is, I noticed that we're going to be removing active content from our eBay postings as of June, I think it is. Does that mean that your 360 spinning photos that you present on eBay for your description photos are going to be deleted as well? Is any type of HTML coding going to be removed from our listing sites? So that's the question. Anyway, looking forward to hearing your input on that. Thank you so much.
Okay, number one, you're not going to round up or down on measurements. Just give the exact measurement. But for weight, you always round up. If it's 1.5 pounds plus a box, which is going to weigh about a pound, you got to go up to 3 pounds.
Or 3.5.
Well, because the post office, if it's 2.5 pounds, that's 3 pounds. Anything over, the mark is over.
And I don't ship, so I'm seeing this as an outsider.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, as we get better, as you ship as more and more things, you're able to see, okay, this thing weighs 2 pounds. It's kind of a big item. I'll need extra thing, so I'm going to say it's 4.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at.
Yeah, exactly. there are some sellers who literally package everything and, box it up before.
And that's probably good if you're starting out new, have a
Right.
very small inventory, and
Right.
this is all a new thing to
Right.
you. But as you get better, you can guesstimate.
You don't need it. Yeah. So, like, my helper, like, she'll weigh every item. She's like, this is 1.2 pounds, but it's a glass thing, so I know it's going to be more than that, so it's 3. Like, she knows to do that now.
Right. And then as far as size go, and again, tell me if I'm wrong.
Right.
And you don't have to measure exactly, as long as it's under a certain size. That's the standard size,
you mean,
right?
I see what you're saying. Right, I was confused about that part of the question. For measurements, yeah, the post office, anything over 12 inches, you have to say.
So as long as it can go into a 12 by 12 by 12 inch box,
right.
It doesn't,
it's not oversized.
I don't need to go and say, okay, it's 8 by 9.5 by 6.5.
Right. No. 12 by 12 by 12 is standard. Anything above 12 inches, if you have an item, it's 18 inches tall, you got to start putting that stuff in because they're gonna...
Because now it's considered oversized.
And it goes by dimensional weight.
And then those prices can really start to grow, and that's where we get a lot of comments where someone's like, oh, I shipped this thing through a FedEx and it was like twice as much as I thought, and it's because it was like a vacuum cleaner. You know? As soon as it gets to be oversized, the price really goes up. So you have to enter that stuff before it gets sold. If not, the buyer's not going to pay the true cost to ship.
Yep. So you got to be careful of that. The second part of the question was active content. HTML, regular HTML, like your text is bold. That stuff's not going away. Active content is like you said, the flash gallery of like photos that Octiva had since like 2001. That stuff's going away. Embedded YouTube videos, apparently that stuff's going away.
And we started to move away from all that stuff, I don't know, it seems like a year or two ago. We just really stripped out anything.
Because you can't see it listing on the phone. So.
Yeah, so we have like a really bare bones. It's photos and a minimal text, and then the thing we really focus on are the item specifics, That's what eBay it really wants, and that's what they call structured data, because if you enter that stuff, then eBay can put that stuff into filters and all that kind of stuff. All right, that's it for this week. It's good to be back home. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we talked about, and we always like people to join the conversation there. You can leave us a question or comment on our voicemail line, and that is 540-40-78486. We post an episode every Monday, sometimes Sunday nights. Wednesdays, Steve is our resident guy who makes it's videos, or he makes his own, and we post it, and he shows you what he sells. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or through YouTube. You can hear our other podcasts, which we're actually about to record here, on shampooandbooze.com, and that's where we talk about our rental business, which we have paid for through selling stuff on eBay.
You can also rent our vacation farmhouse. The link to the farmhouse is on shampooandbooze.com.
Yep. And we are ending this podcast in a very gracious and
professional way
manner in 3, 2, 1.